You're welcome to the August 28th, 2024 probate roleplay session. If you don't know and you're watching this after the fact, we do this every 2 weeks on Wednesday at 12:30 Eastern time. That would be 9:30 Pacific or some other time if you're in a different time zone. So welcome you guys to jump in. Alternating Wednesdays, we do a workshop. So every single Wednesday, we have something that is open for you guys to join in on. It's either going to be a workshop where we're teaching a technique or a practice or strategy that's going to help your business, most often in the probate niche, but not exclusively in the probate niche. And then the alternating Wednesday, we do role play at the same time. Again, most often in the probate niche, not exclusively in the probate niche. This is our Probate Mastery certification program, and it's the training and coaching that goes on around that. So just wanted anyone that's never been here to know what this was. If you are watching and you haven't joined our community or been a part, jump over to probatemastery.com, take some of our free training, jump in on our workshops and our role play sessions. You'll learn a lot. You'll grow your business. It's good to see a lot of familiar faces here, though. I told my marketing team that I was going to try to do a better job looking at the camera. We're putting YouTube videos out, and a lot of times my camera is sitting up here and my images of you guys are sitting down on a lower screen. And so if I sometimes don't see you waving at me, it's because I'm trying my best to look at the camera so that the video isn't of the bill of my hat the whole time. So what I'm going to ask you guys to do, if you want to go or you have a question, if it gets too noisy, I'll have you all go to the reactions button down at the bottom of your screen, and then click raise hand. You'll be able to raise your hand and ask any questions or role play, give feedback, different things like that. If I don't see you, just unmute yourself and yell at me. All right. So I'm just doing my best to break a habit of staring down at everybody's Zoom screens. All right. So let's go ahead and get started. We are going to dive into some probate role play. I've asked Courtney Rollins, and I think the majority of you guys know Courtney. If you don't know Courtney, Courtney has taken business out of my taken money out of my pocket by coming into my market and doing a better job than I do on the phone. Okay, so Courtney and I are kind of teaming up on a lot of things. He's going to be getting involved really heavily with some of the training and things. I know Courtney, you're on the road, so it's all good. But in some of these role play sessions, you guys are going to hear, I'm going to put you up against Courtney some, and he's going to be able to give some feedback. Now, I want the same of everyone else here. If you guys are actively in the market and you hear someone role play and it's time to kind of critique their role play, their prospecting a little bit, please chime in and do it. This is an open call. So if you want to role play, even if you don't want to role play, but you're willing to, and you are going to put yourself out there, I want you guys to raise your hand, wave at me. I'll see you. I'm doing my best to try to split my attention between the camera and the screen where everyone is. I'll see you and we'll get going. For now, I want 2 volunteers, though. I want a volunteer to play the prospect and a volunteer to play the agent or the investor, the caller. Who do I have that is willing to go ahead and get started? Who do I have? It's always slow going. I'm going to pick on some of my most familiar names.
Don't you dare. Don't you dare.
Hey, I think you just volunteered yourself, right?
Who?
Right? Yeah. So
Don't you
Roger's
dare.
gonna go. Roger's gonna be the agent. Who's who's going against him? Who's gonna be the prospect? Steve Myers. Go ahead. Go ahead and unmute yourself. Roger, give Steve a call. This is where Roger pretends that his microphone isn't working.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Hello.
Thank you. Thank you. Ring, ring.
Hello.
Good afternoon. Is this Steve?
Um, yeah, who's this?
I, my name's Roger Lisi. I'm with a probate service company, and I know you don't know me, and I don't really know you, but I'd like if you take a couple of minutes of your time to discuss some services that might be helpful to you at this time. Would that be all right?
I'm really pretty busy right now.
I understand that you might have some legal issues with the probate and got something that's going. I do get my information from the courthouse, and I've been doing this for about 7 years and helped a lot of families in the area whom I certainly can refer to you so that you can check up on me if you would be interested in that. Does that sound like something you'd be interested in knowing a little bit more about?
We're just really getting started right now, and I don't even know enough to talk with you at this point.
Well, that's one of the reasons that I called, because I can help set the landscape of what's before you, because I've helped a lot of families with that. Um, I take it that you do have an attorney that's helping you with this process. Is that correct?
Yeah, we're just getting started with him.
Is there anyone else that's helping you within the family through this process?
Well, technically I'm the guy that's in charge, but I've got a couple of sisters and a brother, and we're all trying to play fair with each other right now. But I am the executor.
What are your plans moving forward at this point, and how can I help you in the process?
Yeah, you know what? Like I said, I think it's too early to. We just need to work with our attorney. I don't even really know what we're doing, and I don't know what needs to be done. So I think if this is kind of an early conversation for us.
Well, that'll be great. If it's all right with you, I'd like to be able to stay in touch with you as you go through the process. Like I said, I've got a lot of experience with the process, and there may be some challenges that come up that I might be able to help you with. I
I mean,
do.
like what could you help me with that my attorney can't help me with? I don't really understand.
Well, it's almost everything that's on the ground, because your attorney will basically take care of what you have in the courthouse and making sure that the assets of the estate are distributed according to the laws of the state. And really, I help a lot of people with the personal property, some of the personal property that's going on there, the process that you take care of with that, as well as helping you with some of the challenges that may come up with in the process. And I know that you're getting started with this. As questions come up, I'm sure that are non-legal, because I'm not an attorney. I am a realtor, and that is one of the things that I try to help folks with, just for the commission that I help you with on the personal property, anything that comes up between the family members, and doing that, making sure that we can get things done in a more efficient manner. Does that sound okay to you? Now, maybe I'll give you a call in about a month or so to see where you stand.
Yeah, maybe by then I'll know a little bit more. But you are a realtor, right? You're trying to sell the home. Is that your angle?
My angle really is to help the family. And the way I put bread on my table, food on my table, is basically I help with that by selling the house, and helping you with a lot of the personal property sales that you may have, doing something with all of that as well. Does that sound like something you might be interested in talking about later?
Yeah, I think Roger, that could be helpful. Again, it's very early, but please feel free to stay in touch with me. I appreciate your call.
That'd be great. I'll send you a couple of things in the mail so that we can stay in touch and keep a reminder in front of you on some of the services that I have. And I think you'd be well off in a better situation moving forward than trying to figure out from scratch, what do I do now? That's what the big thing I can help you with. God bless you and have a great day. And I look forward to talking to you again. I hope you see notice some of the stuff that I send you in the mail.
Great. Thank you, Roger.
God bless. Bye bye.
Bye bye.
All right, cool. someone just chatted in. Great job keeping the conversation moving forward. And I just want to say kudos on that for keeping the conversation moving forward. Um, there's your praise. Let's go ahead and lay on the adjustments. All right, Steve, what do you think? Anything that you would like to provide as the prospect?
Yeah, I'm putting myself in the prospect's headspace. I wasn't exactly sure what he was trying to help with. Um, Whether he was an attorney, whether he was a realtor, he did clarify that when I asked. But I thought he did a great job dialoguing with me and keeping me talking because my job was to kind of be a jerk, and I tried not to be too easy on him. But I do think that there could have been some clarity up front about what exactly he was offering to help with and what that might look like.
Mm-hmm. Agreed. Courtney Rollins, do you have anything?
Yeah, first a great voice. I mean, what an awesome voice for the calls. I think you did a really good job of at the anytime he had an objection, you did come back with a question which allowed you to regain control. I think there was an opportunity at the somewhere near the beginning to show a little more listening when he said he was busy, to acknowledge that he was busy and to just you can set it up for either more info by acknowledging that he was busy and to say, hey, well, definitely don't want to take up too much of your time and try to set up that second call a little more. I think there was a little bit of more talking than needed to happen at this point. I think we want the prospect speaking more, but I think the prospect was trying to be resistant, so you were trying to keep the conversation going. But sometimes less can be more. But the tone was awesome in my opinion. The returning with an answer is awesome. I'll also be a little weary of. I know you're explaining yourself, but as far as saying I am a realtor, I don't know if all of that information to me at that point. I think that was getting a little lengthy and may have been a little confusing at the end. But just getting in, getting out, acknowledging his objection, and getting back in control by getting him to ask questions, or at least establishing the fact that hey, I'm going to be able to reach back out to you and keep this relationship going. Those are some what
Yep.
I saw.
Agreed. Agreed. All right. I'm gonna go to one more person. I don't know. I didn't prep David on this. David, did you get enough of that call? I'm not sure when you stepped in. Did you get enough to have any feedback?
Yeah. Can you hear me? Yeah.
Yeah.
Like you just said, it's all about when I send letters or make a phone call, I just want to get my name in front of somebody for branding purposes. I want to get an action where they're going to give me an email address so I can market to them ongoing without having a verbal conversation with them, or send them a letter or a personal card in the mail. So at some point, you have to realize they're not listening to you because they're not looking at you, or they're not paying attention to what you're saying because they don't need you yet. So you have to be able to decipher that conversation, and like Courtney's saying is you gotta be okay with ending that conversation early as long as you said your name 3 times to them, and maybe you get an email, maybe you get a better address, you could verify their information, and then send them a card in the mail. So the next time you follow up, your branding's in front of them, you have a letter in front of them, and then they're going to initiate. They're only going to call 2 to 3 people when they're ready to call. So if you're one of those 3 people and then you offer a cash deal to them or a better offer to them or better options, you're going to get that deal every time.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Perfect. So taking what Courtney said first. Courtney used the expression in and out. Sometimes you want to get in, get what you can get, establish that connection and that rapport, and get out while you have that connection and that rapport. And then what David said, say your name 3 times. I've never used that before. I like that. Say your name 3 times. Interesting. And then move to the marketing. Start working from that point on the long-term relationship. Because what we know of Steve and what he was saying, we know that he very likely is not in a position to where he's moved into the decision making mode on the real estate. And Roger, you did a great job of recognizing that. However, I think that there were some things that you could have done to build up a little bit more rapport. There were times when it felt to me like you were talking at Steve. Okay. And I just felt like if somebody says to me, like I said, that's a trigger word for me to tell me that they feel like they're repeating themselves. They feel like they have to double down on the resistance. And so there's certain things that I'm listening for that are positive triggers for me that tell me that I'm making progress. There are other things that they say sometimes that are kind of negative triggers for me. And I don't mean it's triggering me, but what I mean is I hear that as a clue that maybe I'm losing them. And the words, like I said, are one of those things that I listen out for on a prospecting call. And I heard that, I think, twice from Steve on that call.
And,
So go ahead, David.
sorry. And one good thing, when you watch a comedian make a joke about something, even though it may be offensive in this day and culture, but a negative thing, like when they said about their family or their sisters, I think I caught the very beginning of that where their family is in agreement at this moment. There has to be a reaction to that other than just saying more words to when are you going to be ready? It's like, oh man, I had a situation like that too, where they started off where they were getting along, and then when the attorney got involved, they made it very aggressive. Something where you're feeding on that negative. It was a negative comment, so you got to pay attention to that negative comment, and make it like a comedian will turn that around and make it where it's a little humorous.
Mm-hmm. Yep. In other words, align with the person. Look for those clues and areas where you might have had some experience or some commonality, and look for those areas. And maybe at that point say, hey, you know what? I actually went through that too. Or hey, I recently helped someone that did this or did that, and kind of tell a story. Exactly. I like what David just brought up. Cool. Um, so in your opening, I'm going to address a couple of really quick things in the opening. Right out of the gate, I want you to be a little bit cautious on I'd like to, and take a couple of minutes. What you would like to do is not relevant to the person. So I try to avoid the words I'd like to or I'd love to for the most part. And then telling them that you're going to take a couple of minutes of their time can sometimes be like, oh, either intimidating or I don't want to give you a couple of minutes of time. Um, I just want to be cautious on that. Generally, what I do is I say, hey, could I take a quick second, tell you what I was calling for? I downplay the length of the conversation versus upplay the length of the conversation because a couple of minutes can feel like an eternity to someone that doesn't want to talk to you.
Maybe
Right?
say like a brief synopsis.
Yeah, perfect. Perfect. And then their feedback, whatever their feedback is, you need to acknowledge it. There were a bunch of times when you would take that feedback and you would run with it. I want you, before you run with a response to the feedback, I want you to do a little bit of acknowledging of the feedback. So we may label it, we may mirror it. There's a lot of different things. So he said, "Hey, you know what? I'm really busy. Hey, it sounds like I really caught you at a kind of an inopportune time. Um, Maybe instead I'll just take 20 seconds and kind of tell you a quick synopsis of what this was about. Is that okay?" So that would be an example. But first, before you kind of dive in, let's acknowledge the response that they've given. There were 3 or 4 times on the call that Steve gave a response that I felt like you could have acknowledged before responding to, before answering. Last thing, when it comes to staying in touch with someone, I want to give them power. I don't want them to feel like I'm taking the power. I want to give them the power. So rather than say, hey, I'm going to follow up with you, let me check back with you, things like that, I usually like to say something more along the lines of, hey, tell you what, why don't I send you some details on what I do? And you can call me if you ever need anything. Now, I want everyone to hear this really clearly. I'm not waiting on them to call me. Okay. I
Gotcha.
just want them to feel that the power and the dialogue that we have is more inside of their control from that point forward, I'm normally going to get a more positive response than if they feel like I'm going to be chasing them. Now, I will probably be following up with them. I will chase them a little bit, but I just don't need to like raise that flag in their mind. I don't need them hanging the phone up and going, man, I got to block this guy because he's just going to keep calling me. I want them to feel like whether we communicate in the future is going to be up to them. All right, cool. I had a hand up. Where was my hand? I'm so sorry. I had a hand. I just saw it up and it's down now.
Jose,
Who was that?
Jose Harvin.
Jose. Yeah, shoot, go for it.
Thanks. You kind of answered as you're going through your review, but yeah, I was going to bring up about you know, giving them the control, giving them the sense that they have the upper hand in terms of the follow up, so that they don't feel that they're going to be chased. And also, just wanted to comment that he sounded good in terms of not sounding too scripted. So it sounded like he was generally interested in giving him the assistance.
Yeah.
And and then at the beginning, maybe saying, this call may be a little bit premature. So acknowledging that, like he said, you're not expecting to hear from me. Maybe add this call maybe a little bit premature. So it kind of like reduces the wall of tension that may arise from just a strange call. And maybe a no framed question. So would you be completely opposed to just getting an initial kind of review of what I can do to potentially help someone in your type of situation, to again give them the ability to say no, so that they feel more comfortable with kind of corresponding with you. And yeah, overall, I thought it was a good call. But those things, like the entry statement and the no frame question, may help, continue the conversation. And then suggest that, I can be, this call is just a basic call as an introduction for basic information, not creating tension that something has to happen right away. Those are just some of my comments.
Perfect. I love it. Thank you so much. Those are spot on. I like the no frame. I've never put it as a no frame. I've never heard that before, but I know the technique. I love it. I'm gonna say two more things, Roger. I'm gonna reiterate what Steve said in the beginning. He wasn't 100% clear on what you did, like what you got out of it. I think people have a general lack of trust if they don't know what's in it for you. If you try to avoid talking about what's in it for you, I feel like you're undermining your credibility. I hear it quite frequently. Now, I don't want to say lead with your commission breath. I think you did good, but you probably let it go a little tiny bit too long before being clear on how you put food on your table. I loved that you said how I put food on my table. I say how I put food on my table, how I feed my family all the time, because people understand that you have to feed your family, you have to put food on your table, and that's a better, softer way of spinning how I make my money. Okay, so I really like that you did that. And then last, no email. You didn't get an email. I want you to shoot for that email. All right, Terry Peterson.
Yeah, I had just really not a question about the presentation itself, but in Missouri we have a state case net where all the probates are filed, and they're filed daily. So I'm pulling probates daily, and sending out a letter on the day that I pull it. What kind of time frame are you guys looking at for the initial outreach to the personal representative in the estate? I mean, would it be calling the day it's filed? Would it wait for the letter to be delivered and follow up with that, or what's what do you think the appropriate time frame is to make that initial call?
Yep. So I want to hear some feedback from a few other people. Any of my coaches, any of the folks that have been here, do you guys have any feedback? I'm going to give a little bit of a nuanced set of feedback, but I want to hear from some others first if someone's willing to chime in with an answer to that.
I've tried to do the mail first and then the call, but I like a whole lot better calling first and then following up with the mail. I get a little more introduction and real quick in and out phone call, and then follow up with additional information, which certifies, gives credibility to the conversation that we have.
Yep. Yep. So I'm gonna generally say, as a general rule of thumb, I call first, and then I follow up if I haven't gotten anyone on the phone for a week, and that's multiple attempts inside of that week. I'll typically kick off a cold mail campaign at that point. Obviously, if I do get them on the phone, I've got a warm campaign for the people that aren't ready yet, which is the majority. I think you can go both ways. Now, if you're calling the day of or the day after, the likelihood that they've gotten tired of anyone else attempting to reach out is really, really low. The likelihood that they're going to be ready to talk about selling the house is really, really low as well. So you're going to get a more receptive person on the phone, but most of the time they're going to hold you at arm's length. So in the first day or two, you're really just establishing some credibility, rapport, and a communication plan. Trying to get that, be the first person that has communicated, knowing that in a few months you'll likely be top of mind because you were first. So, but I do like calling out of the gate. All right, cool. Let's move to another role play, guys. Who is next?
Thank
Do I
you for
have
your
any
feedback, everybody. I really appreciate it.
Thanks, Roger. Thanks for going first, even though you didn't volunteer. Actually, you did volunteer. You knew what I was going to do. All right. Who's next? Who's going to go? Am I going to pick on someone else? All right. I am going to pick on someone else. Let's go David Pinnell. And who's going to be the
wonderful.
prospect?
Ring. Oh, well, I'm ringing.
Courtney, why don't you be the prospect?
Oh, my Lord.
Sure. Okay.
Ring.
Hello?
Hey, Courtney. Hey, this is Dave Pinnell. I was calling you because I sent you a letter in the mail. Did you receive that on that probate you're working?
Oh, yeah. I'm getting a lot of letters over here. Yeah. So who's this?
This is David Pinnell. I'm a real estate broker in the area.
Okay.
It looks like you're out of state of Texas. You're working a probate here in Fort Worth area. Look like you're in North Carolina.
Yeah, that's my
right.
Yeah, that's my uncle's estate. I'm trying to
Nice,
get it
man.
care of. Yeah.
How's it going? You having a good time with it?
Man, it's a lot of stuff, man. A lot of stuff, you know. Yeah, you say you're a broker, you calling from the office or
Yeah, so we buy houses here, or we help you just eliminate any of the tasks that we can as a real estate agent or just someone to help you on the ground like a little soldier. So anything you may need that the attorney's not going to do for you.
Okay. All right. Well, appreciate it, man. Yeah. Well, what does that look like? You know,
It just depends on what phase you are in because it takes. We know that it takes a little bit to get through the legal process here. So one thing that we'd love to do is go to check on the properties if it's land or if it's a house to put a vacant sign on it, or I mean a no trespassing sign on it, or if there's any trash laying around the house or need the yard mowed, we'll take care of that for you.
Okay. What are your fees? How much does that cost?
If you just give me a shot at being your listing agent or buying the house in the future, we'll just take care of that for you now.
All right, gotcha. Yeah, I don't know what we're gonna do with the house yet. I mean, as you see, I'm the one in charge of the probate, but I got a sister that she claims she's gonna want to buy it and turn it into a rental, but she's in Georgia.
Nice.
Texas, and the house is all in North Carolina, so I don't think she's going to be able to do it. But I say all to say, man, I really gonna have to run it by her, so I don't know if she's going to sell the property. I don't want you to have to, waste your time.
That's fine. You don't waste my time. I'm just here to help you. I'm on the ground here, whatever you need. The one thing that I can help you out with, so we could try to, sway her opinion on what she needs, is I could send you guys a market report of the property, and you could keep an idea of what the houses are on the street and in the school zone, what they're selling for. That's an easy thing, and that doesn't take any time. It's all automated. So if that'll help, that just it gets you guys talking about the house when those reports come in.
Well, shoot. Well, cool. Yeah. What do you need from me for that?
Just if you will share your email, I could just send you a report once a week or every other week, whatever you prefer, or when there's a house that sells in the neighborhood.
Well, yeah, that might be helpful. Might let her know
Yeah.
what's on and what we might be missing out on. Or
Yeah, yeah. I was gonna say a lot of people when they think about renting, they just don't think about the person that's gonna actually rent it from you.
yeah,
And if you guys don't do that often, it gets a little messy.
yeah, I hear that, man.
We
Yeah.
just had to kick someone out this morning on a house. They didn't pay rent for 6 months, and
Jeez.
they're a family member of the estate too. So
Oh,
they're jacking up the estate, and just when you guys have something to deal with all the legal stuff, you don't need someone waste your time in the house either.
well, that's exactly what I don't want to deal with, and I'm trying to explain to her that it's not something easy. It's just
Yeah,
hiring somebody to go over there and look after it.
yeah.
So yeah. All right, cool. Well, yeah. I guess what you need my email address. It's Courtney@gmail.com. If I don't know if you
Cool.
get that. Yeah, I'd love to get that. Cool,
And
man.
I probably sent you a letter in the mail too. It's a red envelope or a yellow one,
Hmm.
and it'll just have my business card in there. If you need anything, man, if you're in town, we'll grab a beer and talk about it. Or if you have any scenario that you need to run across me that you don't think that kind of makes sense from somebody else, don't mind calling me at all.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I'm pretty sure I'm sitting on the kitchen counter. I'll take a look at that, man. Is this
Okay,
the best number to reach you to if I don't
it
find your
is. Yeah,
cool. All right, let me make a note of this then. All right.
awesome, man.
Oh man.
Let's if you need anything, let me know. I'm here for you.
All right, thanks. So you said David?
Yes, sir.
Thanks, man.
Yeah, you're welcome. Have a good day.
You too.
Bye.
All right, cool. David, I didn't hear your name 3 times.
Oh, well, that's true.
Yeah. Yeah. Listen, you had me dying when you chuckled. I don't know. I don't know if that's something normal. But you kind of laughed in the beginning, and that just about killed me. I don't know. I don't know if you did that on purpose or not. But yeah, no, that just about killed me. I like the way that you controlled the call. I like the stories that you put into it. And I didn't feel any pressure at all.
None at all. Yeah.
None.
No, because they're so far away.
All right.
If we're calling someone after the first letter, they're so far away from. I've had one person call me, and we did the contract on the TV. In all the years I've done probates, I don't really try to push for the appointment anymore. I push for the relationship and getting myself a chance
Right.
when they need. I want to be the top 1 or 2 options for them. And that's it. And then have a regular conversation with people.
Mm-hmm.
That's what it felt like. It felt like that, and it also it was matter of fact and to the point.
I got a live probate calling me right now, so I don't know if you could put it on.
Oh, we should do that.
I want to make sure that there's not they're not sharing.
Well,
we'll bleep it out if they share something. Go for it. All right, we'll be good. We'll move on. David, I'm gonna mute you. Okay. So that was good. I'd love to hear that call, but I don't know how to hear it. And I also don't want them sharing personal details that I have to go try to edit and remember to edit out. So great call. You guys heard David's approach. It's kind of asking questions. It's dropping quick snippets of value, no pressure. I like the approach. It's a little different than the approach that some of you guys are taking, that I take sometimes. And this just goes to prove that you don't have to copy me. You don't have to copy Courtney. You don't have to copy David. There's a lot of ways to do this and be successful. So, man, that was good. David, how'd that call go?
It was somebody giving me a referral, so that's good.
Good. All right, cool.
She got 3 letters from me. She's like, I'm not ready to sell, but I know somebody's willing to sell. That's good.
Love it. All right.
Yeah. Yeah, you're right. It's all about conversation. And if you're worried about the exact script you need to have, you're not having enough conversations.
Mm-hmm.
If you need the exact template letter to send, then you're not reading enough persuasion books to figure out what words to put in that letter. You know, it when I change my letters all the time, and I change what I say on the phone all the time. And I'm listening for them to say something negative or positive that I can lean into.
Mm-hmm.
Or at least, like you said, say my name 3 times, or say their name 3 times. Something to get them to share. You know, you say I didn't say my name 3 times, but he did share his email. So I got what I needed from the call. So now I could social media him, I could retarget him, I could send letters to him, and then I could put a follow-up call him every 21 days.
Absolutely.
It's on for Courtney. He's gonna call me when he's ready.
Yeah,
He's gonna sell a house.
2 things I really liked was the opening was like, hey, I'm sure you got my letter, or you may have already got my letter. That's like a different way of opening that, already, establishes, hey, I've sent something out to you. Even if you didn't send a letter out, that was awesome. And how direct, I love, David, how direct you are with, hey, I'm here for the real estate solutions, because I've actually caught myself having folks who thought I was just a concierge service, and they'll call me back later saying, hey, I need help with that probate, like you said. We already sold the house. And I'm like, what the hell? I didn't explain it clear enough to them at that point. So I've been taking that approach. I think I got it from you, David, to just go directly to the, let them know what your intents are.
Well, it goes back to one of my favorite coaches is Kevin Ward. He talks about permission. You got to get permission right at the hammer. So say what and Bruce too. So say what you're saying, and then almost feed back on the different stories you could fit in, or the different conversation of what, hey, I'm calling you for this, but if you don't need me right now, let me handle. Like I said, hey, I can mow the yard for you. I could put a sign in the house. And then you kept saying, everybody's going to be like, no, that's okay. I don't want to waste your time. All right, cool. Let me send you an easy email that doesn't cost me anything.
Yeah. Yeah. One more thing for Dave, and then I'm going to answer a question from Miles, and then we're going to move to another role play. So the other thing that I liked that you did is you quickly eliminated I have an attorney objection really quickly. I don't know if you were going to get it or not, but you said, do everything that the attorney doesn't do. So immediately you differentiate yourself from the attorney. And if that objection was going to come up is, no, I don't need anything because my attorney's handling it all, that objection is gone before they've ever vocalized it. So I loved doing that. Now, what made me think of that was Miles's question. How would you address if they asked, how'd you get my number? And I think that was directed at you, Dave. Before you answer, I'm going to say that the best time to address an objection is before it's vocalized. So one of the ways that I do this and just sort of eliminate the how'd you get my number in my opening is a lot of times I'll say, hey, I'm not 100% sure I have the right person. I've been trying to find the number and person that's responsible for the estate. I think this might be David Pinnell. Is that right? And just that kind of confusion I've been digging around trying to find a lot of times takes away their thinking or need to ask, how do you get my number? Because I'm kind of indicating that I've been doing some research and trying to hunt them down. And so in opening that way, I almost never get, how'd you get my number? However, if you do get it, it's a really good idea to have a pre-planned framework for being able to address how do you get my number, because that can really throw you off if you don't have a framework for it. David, do you have a response for that before I give mine?
I really don't. I'd love to hear yours, because I would make something up. I would be a little honest with him. Be like, hey, I sent you a letter. I haven't heard back from you. I don't know if I have the right number. I have 3 numbers in front of me that I looked up online, and I was just seeing if you were going to answer the phone, something to that effect.
Great.
But I don't want to spend too much time on it. I want to get back to, I want to touch on it, but then ask them another question so it gets it off that.
Precisely. I can't say it better myself. So answer the question fairly honestly, without using the words list and lead. Okay. They don't want to
Yeah.
be on a list and they don't want to be a lead. And that's I hear a lot of callers give that. They get so nervous when they hear, how'd you get this number, that they go start talking to the person and dehumanizing them. You're on a list, you're a lead. Okay, so I'll usually say, yeah, I actually wasn't sure if I got the right number. I have about 3 here that I found online. I was trying to find the representative for this estate. I think you're responsible, correct? So what I did there, I gave a short answer, and then I did exactly what David did: short answer question. The question that you ask is going to get them off of that. So you need to ask a question that moves them away from how'd you get my number and in the direction that you want to go. So that question could be, are you involved with the estate? Or, hey, are you the only one involved with the estate, or is your whole family helping? Something like that. Get them away from the question that they threw out to you and working on your terms. All right, cool.
Yeah, because they will. That's them trying to say no to you without saying no to you, and they're trying to get off the phone with you. So they want to create, you know, you got to think about when spammers call you. It's like, how did you get my number? They're just curious. So you have to be a little curious on the other end of being honest with them, move past it, and then ask another question.
Correct. Good. All right. Yeah, Courtney, do you have a different way of handling that? Miles just asked. And then I want hands up. I want next person up for role play after Courtney answers.
It's just similar. It's a real quick acknowledging. May say, "Oh yeah, great question." And I usually say, "We're at the estate office, and we get our information from the estate office. Then we give folks a courtesy call, and then I'll turn it back to a question, or back to them. So how's the probate going, or do you have somebody supporting you, or what's the biggest challenge you're facing?"
Mm-hmm.
So I say I get it directly from the state office. We're with the state office. We get it directly from the office, and they would give folks a courtesy call to see who may need some help.
Yep. Mistake a lot of people make. I'm looking for some hands, by the way. Mistake a lot of people make is they ramble. So you'll spend 5 minutes answering the question of how'd you get my number. Well, I go to the courthouse and I talk to the clerk and this and that and all these different things, and you're feeling uncomfortable. Anytime you're feeling uncomfortable, just ask a question. Turn it back to them. Ask a question you already know the answer to. You could ask, one of my favorite questions is, hey, are you guys just getting started with probate, or have you been in the middle of it for a few months? I know the answer to that. They don't need to know I know the answer to that. It's turning the conversation in a direction that I'm comfortable handling. Cool. All right, we got Scott up. Let me see another hand. Scott, I assume you're gonna be the agent, correct?
Sure.
Okay, who's gonna be the prospect? This is usually where I get 10 hands. Somebody be the prospect. I'll be the prospect. All right, Scott, go with me.
Okay. Ring, ring.
Hello.
Hello, this is Scott Stone from ABC Realty. I'm a local real estate agent here in St. Charles County. Thank you for taking my call today. I specialize in probate and estate sales of real property. And the reason I'm reaching out to you is my head researcher informed me that you may be, if not already, be the personal representative for John Smith's estate. I understand this may be a tough time for you, and I sincerely apologize if this is premature. I just wanted to reach out respectfully and see if the goal for you and the other heirs is to get the home on the market and sold.
Which house are you talking about?
The one at 123 Main Street.
Well, I'm living there, so probably not anytime soon. Could be later though.
Okay. Well, I do have a team of professionals that can help you through this probate process. Would you like me to send out some information about the services I can provide to help you get through this smoothly.
What other services are those?
Well, if you need somebody to help clean the house out or do any repair work or prepare the house for market or do any type of estate sale stuff, I have a team of people that can help with those types of things.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I mean, I keep the house in really good shape. This was my partner's partner in my house, and I think I mean, everything with the property is in good shape, so I don't think I need anything here
So,
at Main Street.
so it was you were living there with your partner, and are you planning on staying there, or are you planning on making any changes?
No, I'm not going to change anything right now. I'm just kind of dealing with this whole loss and everything, so it'll
I
be a
gotta
little
go.
while.
Okay, I understand you've got everything taken care of right now. I can perfectly understand that. Would it be just all right if I send you my contact information? That way you can reach out to me when you're ready if you need any help.
Yeah, that works.
Okay, can I get your email address and I'll send that out to you?
Sure. I would do it to let's say Bruce at gmail.com.
Okay, well, I'll send that out to you, Bruce. Just out of curiosity, um, when you get through this process, do you think you're going to stay there long term, or do you think you might be looking at selling it down the road?
Yeah, like I said, it's gonna be a little while before I decide on that. It's possible that I'll sell and move at some point, but it's not top of mind.
Okay, well, I certainly understand. I appreciate that. A lot of people want to take some time after a grieving loss like this. Um, I'll send my information out to you, and if you need anything, you can reach back out to me. Okay,
Yeah, that works.
thank you.
Okay, thanks so much. All right, break. Feedback before I do.
Oh, can I say something? I'm
Yeah,
sorry,
go for it.
Scott. These people that have lost a spouse within the same address, man, you just got to have kid gloves on.
Yeah,
They will not historically do anything with the house until there's a change in circumstance other than the death. That like a tax problem, a homestead problem, or some degree where the payments increased. So you need to treat it like a circle prospecting call, not like a probate or state call, because they're not they're going to be in grieving for 7 stages of grieving, and that's going to go way past the probate, probably a
yeah.
year or two. And if
I
you're hitting them
generally,
you kept hammering about the estate. They don't need you and they don't want you. They will never call you back, man. So you need a circle prospecting 101. I'm sorry that oh I would hang up on you on that.
I don't think I'd have hung up, but so I've had a different experience with surviving spouses and partners. A lot of times it depends on whether that, so for me, it depends on whether they knew it was coming, and it depends on where their family is. So a lot of times they knew it was coming. A lot of times they have family in a different area. A lot of times the thought is in their head that they're going to sell in my experience. Um, Before I hammer on it, I want to see if they'll share any of that. So I'm going to use something along the lines of, hey, I imagine you have a pretty good support team here. No, my kids are in Florida. Guess what? Now I know that I can probably lean in a little bit on the house. So rather than go all circle prospecting, I want to drop a little comment that they can affirm or correct me on, an assumption that they can affirm or correct me on. And then if, yeah, I've got a really good support team, I'm gonna do exactly what Dave just said. Treat it like a circle prospecting call, drip on them for a little while, stay in touch, and not push too hard on the estate. Now, Scott, I realized that you had no idea that I was going to play the role of a survivor with a
yeah, and I generally filter out surviving spouses,
yeah,
so I don't even call them.
got it. And I don't. I love talking to surviving spouses. Because everybody else filters them out, and I know that if their support team isn't local, that they'll end up moving, and it might take a little bit longer, but a lot of times they'll move. I like to call them, but I do it with kid gloves on. So I'm going to agree with 80% of what Dave said, but I think there's a little bit of nuance there where we can't just wipe them out. Now, you were going off of a script, solid script. I don't have a problem with the script. I want you to become a better actor, though. So at this point, you've got your script in front of you. When you go in for an audition, you don't read the script trying to get the acting job. You play the script. So you were reading the script a little bit. And when you're playing the script, you're looking for interaction and feedback. So the first minute and 15 seconds of that call was you mostly reading the script. And I would have hung up when there wasn't any back and forth. That's where I would have hung up. So I'll agree with Dave on that. We didn't have any back and forth. So while you're going through that, I'm looking for little verbal cues, and I'm asking them questions to try to get them to respond to me. So kind of work through that where you're looking at your script more as an outline, but you're trying to insert a couple of little questions or things into the middle of it. All in all, the script process that you had was rock solid. It just needs to be acted out a little bit more and have a few extra places for the consumer to give some feedback.
I have a feedback as well.
Yeah, go ahead, Natalia.
Yeah. I think when he asked the question, he needed to really listen the answer, because when you said that you're actually number one, you said which property. So
Yep.
he could answer, okay, well, this, and then when you answer that you live there, so he continue, providing the services that you really don't need because you're already living there. So there is no reason for those services.
Mm-hmm.
So that's one of the clues. You really need to listen when you ask the questions. And then, when you said which one, so you said, well, it looks like you have a couple of them. So may I ask, what else do you,
Yeah.
what other probate you're going through? So that's my feedback. So just always listen what people say back
Mm-hmm.
to you.
Those are loose threads. And in most conversations, there's going to be multiple loose threads that if you're not looking for, and it takes a little while to learn to look for them, but if you're not looking for them, you might miss. And that's one that I'll put, hint, hint, for those that role play with me in the future. That's one that I'll drop into a conversation. Which house are you talking about? It's rare that someone picks up on that, but I want you guys to listen for that. Which house are you talking about? Recognize that it probably means that there are multiple properties involved, and be able to lean into that a little bit. Aside from that, would you like me to? There was a point when you said, would you like me to keep in touch? Would you like me to send information? I used to do that all the time. So hopefully you're in good company, Scott. I used to do it all the time, and I had good, positive probate conversations. I've quit saying, would you like me to send you information? I've started saying, hey, I'll tell you what, I'm going to, and you don't do it in a bossy way, but hey, I tell you what, I'm going to send you some details on what I do. If anything ever comes up, you can give me a call. Is that fair? And you'll get a huge percentage of emails using that approach versus would you like me to? When I would say, hey, would you like me to? It might be 30 or 40% of the people that I'd be in communication with that would say, yeah, sure. And the rest would go, no, that's okay. I'll keep your number and call you. Now I need that ongoing communication. So for me, I'm telling them in a non-bossy tone, I'm telling them what I'm going to do. Tell you what, I'll shoot you some details on what I do. You can call me if anything comes up. Is that fair? That's fair. What's
Yeah,
the best
that's a
email?
good reminder. Normally I do that.
Good. Awesome. Cool. All right. Thanks, Scott. I got a few more minutes and then I've got to head out of here. We've got Ron, your hand is up. Do you want to role play or do you have a question?
No, I was just responding to the surviving spouse. I know my mom was was living in the house when my dad passed away, and it took her almost 10 years to move. But one of the reasons was that was so ingrained with the neighborhood and her community that she didn't want to move. And so we left her there because it was better for her health-wise to stay and be supported by her friends, not just so much relatives. So just another direction that if you do talk to a surviving spouse, that's a key as well, not just from the children's standpoint, but how close they are, but the social aspect of the surroundings.
That's right. Yep. All the more reason to drop some assumptions. A couple of weeks ago, I mentioned empathic statements on a role play call. An empathic statement is an assumption that you make that you're really asking it in lieu of a question. So you might want to say, what are you going to do with the house? So instead of saying that, you might say, hey, I imagine you're probably going to try to stay in the house for a while. So you're assuming something. Giving them a chance to correct you is really what I'm doing. Somebody that's grieving is much more likely to correct you than answer a question in some situations. So rather than, hey, are you going to keep the house? Are you going to keep the house? I'd like to sell it. It's more of a, hey, I assume you're probably going to stay in the house, try to stay in the house indefinitely or for a while, right? No, I'm going to need to sell. My kids are trying to get me to move into assisted living, or I got to go be closer to family, or no, I don't want these memories. I've heard all of these things. These are reasons why I still communicate with surviving spouses. I'm just doing it a little bit more delicately. They, in some cases, they're going to go through these massive stages of grief and it's going to take a while. In other cases, they already know they're going to move, and giving them a chance to correct your assumption is going to tell you where they are and whether you need to kind of lean into that relationship a bit. Now, if you guys choose to filter out surviving spouses, go for it. Be my guest. That's just gives me more opportunity. All right.
Hey, Bruce, I had a quick question.
Sure.
So on that same line of surviving spouses, do you take or do people on the call take that approach with like your situation? I don't think that was your partner, but it was more like you were related to that person and still living in the house. Was that the case? Or was that your so any family that's still living in the house that may not be a spouse, but like
Yeah.
maybe a daughter, a son, a nephew or something like that. Is that the same approach?
That happens a lot, guys. I want you to just hear this. If you see someone, a PR that has the same address as the decedent, it does not mean that there's a surviving spouse. One of the things that I hear pretty frequently is it's a nephew of an aunt that didn't have kids. I hear that specific scenario frequently. I have a couple of leads that I'm nurturing right now that fit that exact scenario. So it could be they moved in with kids, a nephew, a niece moved in with them, a sibling moved in, a lot of things. So that's one of the reasons why I'm just going to kind of explore. Hey, it looks like they were living at 123 Main Street. I assume that you guys owned that together. That might be an assumption that I make. And see if I get some feedback on it. I don't know where I'm going to go with that call until they start giving me some feedback, though.
Got it. Thank you.
Yeah, perfect. All right. I think that'll about wrap it up. Do I have any other questions? James, how do you get recordings? I'm trying to break these down into the whole role play, put it on YouTube, and then I'm trying to break the different role plays and feedback and coaching apart and put those up as snippets. Sometimes it's waiting on me to add commentary and copy to before the YouTube goes out there. One of the things that I have to do as a marketer, just like you guys are marketers in your business, I have to market Probate Mastery. So one of the things I need to do is make sure that I have good titles and good copy. So I don't rush it onto YouTube. I try to write good copy so that it gets visibility. Same thing you guys should be doing. So use me as an example. And that usually waits till a Saturday that I can sit and write copy. So if you go to YouTube, Probate Mastery, you will see some past role plays. and then you'll be able to watch those. And if you ever need one and you're not seeing it and you haven't seen it for a week, just send me a reminder and be like, hey, go write your copy, Bruce. So, all right, guys, appreciate you everybody being here. Next week, Wednesday, we're doing a workshop, 12:30 Eastern time, 9:30 Pacific. And then the week after that will be another role play. And of course, come to our coaching calls on Tuesday as well. Appreciate you guys being here.
All right. Take care, everyone. Take care, Bruce.
See you, Courtney.
Peace.